A quiet woman sat in a radio room. Nobody knew who she was. But when 8 fighter jets lost contact in a storm, she spoke into the radio. She repeated one call sign. Each time she said it, the entire squadron fell completely silent. Because they knew. She was the pilot everyone thought was dead. The radio control room was busy that day. Many people were working. They were wearing military clothes. They had headphones on. They were talking to pilots in the sky. The commander of the base was named Colonel Harris. He was a tall man with gray hair. He had worked at the Air Force Base for 25 years. He was very good at his job. Nothing made him nervous. But today, something was different. A new woman walked into the room. Her name was Maya. She was 32 years old. She had short black hair. Her eyes were dark and quiet. She wore a gray uniform. She looked like she did not want to be there. Colonel Harris looked at her. "This is Maya," said another officer. "She will work in the radio room now. She knows how to talk to pilots." "Okay," said Colonel Harris. He looked at the radar screens. He did not look at Maya again. Maya walked to an empty desk. She sat down quietly. She put on a headphone. She waited. She did not smile. She did not say hello to anyone. She just sat and waited. The other workers did not talk to her. She was new. She was quiet. Nobody knew anything about her. Nobody asked questions. They just left her alone. Maya did not care. She looked at the computer screen. She listened to the pilots' voices. And she waited. At 2:30 in the afternoon, everything changed. An alarm started to make a loud sound. Red lights began to flash on all the screens. Everyone in the room sat up straight. Their eyes got big. Colonel Harris stood up from his chair. "What is happening?" he said loudly. James, one of the workers, looked at his screen. His face became white. "Sir," said James. "We have a problem. A very big problem." On the radar screen, there were 8 fighter jets. They were flying together. They were called the Phoenix Squadron. This was a very good squadron. The pilots were the best pilots in the Air Force. But something was wrong with their planes. "Phoenix Squadron," said James into the radio. "What is your status? Please answer." The radio made noise. Then came a voice. It was the leader of the squadron. His name was Captain Mark Stevens. But something was wrong with his voice. It sounded scared. "Control room," said Captain Stevens. "We have a problem. A big problem. All 8 planes have lost their radio systems at the same time. We cannot talk to each other. We cannot talk to you. We do not know where we are going." Everyone in the room looked at each other. This was a very big problem. "Can you see each other?" asked James. "Yes," said Captain Stevens. "We can see each other. But we cannot talk. All our radios are dead. And sir, there is something worse." "What?" asked Colonel Harris. "We are flying into a storm," said Captain Stevens. "A very bad storm. If we cannot talk to each other, 8 planes will crash into each other. All 8 pilots will die." The room became very quiet. Everyone stopped moving. Everyone stopped breathing. Colonel Harris looked at all the people in the room. Nobody was moving. Nobody knew what to do. Then he looked at the radar screen. The 8 red dots were getting closer to each other. Closer. Closer. In 3 minutes, they would hit each other. Maya was still sitting at her desk. She had not moved. She was looking at the radar screen. Her hands were on the keyboard. Her face did not show any feeling. But something was different about her. Colonel Harris was looking at all his workers. He was trying to think of what to do. Then Maya stood up. Everyone looked at her. "Yes," said Colonel Harris. "What do you want?" "I can help," said Maya. Colonel Harris looked at her. He did not know her. She had been working there for only 3 days. She was quiet. She was new. "How can you help?" asked Colonel Harris. "I can talk to them," said Maya. "I can help the pilots." "How?" asked James. "All their radios are dead. We cannot hear them. They cannot hear us." "I can still try," said Maya. Colonel Harris did not have a better idea. He had no one else. He had nothing else. He only had this quiet woman who had just started to work. "Okay," said Colonel Harris. "Try." Maya walked to the main radio. She sat down. She put on the headphone. She took a deep breath. Everyone was watching her. "Phoenix Squadron," said Maya into the radio. Her voice was very clear. "Phoenix Squadron, do you hear me?" For a moment, there was no answer. Nothing. Only the sound of static. Then came a voice. It was Captain Stevens. "Control room," he said. "Is that you?" "We can hear you. We can hear you." "Yes," said Maya. "I can hear you too." "Thank God," said Captain Stevens. "We can hear you now. But we still cannot talk to each other. We are getting very close. In 2 minutes, we will crash." Maya closed her eyes. She was thinking about something. Something very important. Then she opened her eyes. "Captain Stevens," she said. "What is your call sign?" "My call sign is Phoenix 1, said Captain Stevens. "Why do you ask?" Maya did not answer. She just took a deep breath. She put her hand on the radio button. And then she said something. She said one name. 4 words. "This is Echo Wing calling." The radio went silent. Completely silent. No sound. Nothing. Colonel Harris looked at Maya. "What did you say?" he asked. But Maya did not answer. She was looking at the radar screen. In the sky, in Phoenix 1, Captain Stevens heard those words. He heard that name. His hands started to shake. But not from fear. From something else. "Echo Wing," he said slowly. Very slowly. "Yes," said Maya. "That is not possible," said Captain Stevens. His voice sounded different now. Shocked. In the other 7 planes, the pilots could not hear the radio conversation. But they were listening to the radio channel. They were trying to understand what was happening. In Phoenix 2, Captain David Wilson heard the name. "Echo Wing," he said quietly. Very quietly. He did not say it on the radio. He said it to himself. But his face became white. In Phoenix 3, Captain Sarah Johnson heard the name. She closed her eyes. She could not believe it. One by one, each pilot in the squadron heard the name. And one by one, they became very quiet. "Phoenix 1, said Maya again. "Listen to me. You are going to crash in 2 minutes. I am going to help you. But you must listen to me. You must listen very carefully. Can you do that?" "Yes," said Captain Stevens. His voice was shaking. "Yes, I will listen." "Good," said Maya. "Tell Phoenix 2 to move left. Tell Phoenix 3 to move right. Tell Phoenix 4 to go down. Tell Phoenix 5 to go up. Tell Phoenix 6 to slow down. Tell Phoenix 7 to go fast. Tell Phoenix 8 to wait. Captain Stevens did what Maya said. He told all the pilots what to do. And they did it. They moved their planes. They followed the orders. They listened to the voice of Echo Wing. But they did not talk. They did not say anything. They just moved. In the radio room, Colonel Harris was watching the radar screen. The 8 red dots were moving apart. Slowly. They were not going to crash anymore. But there was still danger. Maya, said Colonel Harris. I mean, Echo Wing. The storm is very bad. The pilots cannot fly through it. What do we do? Maya looked at the radar screen. She looked at the weather report. She looked at the information about the planes. Then she repeated the call sign. The second time. This is Echo Wing, she said. This is Echo Wing. The radio went silent again. The silence was bigger this time. In Phoenix 1, Captain Stevens heard the name again. He looked at his hands. They were shaking very badly. In Phoenix 2, Captain Wilson had tears in his eyes. He did not know why. He just heard the name again. And he could not stop the tears. In Phoenix 3, Captain Johnson took off her helmet. She looked out the window. She was looking for something. Someone. In the other planes, the pilots became very still. Very quiet. Very sad. Very happy. All at the same time. Echo Wing, said Captain Stevens. Is it really you? Yes, said Maya. I am here. I am with you. And the pilots became quiet again. The storm is very bad, said Maya. But I know a way through it. Follow my instructions. I will take you through the storm safely. All 8 planes will make it. For the next 15 minutes, Maya told the pilots what to do. Move left. Go up. Go down. Turn right. Slow down. Go fast. And the pilots listened. They did not talk. They did not ask questions. They just listened to the voice of Echo Wing. And they followed the path through the storm. In the radio room, everyone was watching. Everyone was quiet. Everyone was listening to Maya. Colonel Harris was looking at the radar screen. The 8 red dots were moving through the bad weather. They were getting closer to the base. Closer. Closer. Then Maya repeated the call sign. The third time. Phoenix Squadron, this is Echo Wing, she said. This is Echo Wing calling. The room became very quiet. The pilots did not say anything. But the silence was the loudest sound in the world. Because every pilot knew. Every pilot understood. Echo Wing was the best pilot that had ever lived. Echo Wing had disappeared 10 years ago. Echo Wing was dead. Everyone thought she was dead. But now Echo Wing was here. Now Echo Wing was with them. Now Echo Wing was saving them. The 8 planes came out of the storm. They could see the sky again. They could see the base below them. Phoenix Squadron, said Maya. You are going to be okay now. Prepare for landing. Echo Wing, said Captain Stevens. His voice was very quiet. Before we land. Can you tell us something? What? Said Maya. Are you really Echo Wing? He asked. Are you really her? Maya looked at the radar screen. She looked at the 8 red dots. She looked at the pilots she had just saved. Then she repeated the call sign. The last time. Echo Wing, she said clearly. Echo Wing. And the entire squadron fell silent. Completely. Totally. Absolutely silent. The silence lasted for 30 seconds. 40 seconds. 50 seconds. No one spoke. No one moved. No one breathed. Because they all understood now. It was really her. Echo Wing was really there. In the radio room, Colonel Harris stood up. His eyes were big. His mouth was open. "Who is that?" he asked James. "Who is Maya? Who is Echo Wing?" James looked at Colonel Harris. "Echo Wing," said James slowly, "was the greatest pilot this Air Force ever had. She flew for 8 years. She saved 53 lives. She got 52 medals. She was a hero." "Was?" asked Colonel Harris. "She disappeared 10 years ago," said James. "Everyone said she was dead. Everyone said her plane crashed. But the body was never found." Colonel Harris looked at Maya. "What happened?" he asked. Maya took off her headphone. She looked at Colonel Harris. "I did not disappear," she said. "I just stopped being Echo Wing. I got tired. I got hurt. I wanted to be nobody. I wanted to be quiet." "And now?" asked Colonel Harris. Maya looked at the radar screen. The 8 planes were landing safely on the base. "Now," said Maya, "I remember why I was Echo Wing." The planes landed safely. All 8 pilots came out of their planes. They were alive. They were safe. They walked to the radio room. Captain Stevens walked in first. He looked at Maya. "You are Echo Wing," he said. It was not a question. "Yes," said Maya. "Why did you leave us?" asked Captain Stevens. "Because I was broken," said Maya. "My mind was broken. My heart was broken. I needed to rest." "And now?" asked Captain Wilson. "Now I am ready," said Maya. "I am ready to be Echo Wing again." Captain Johnson walked forward. She did not say anything. She just put her hand on Maya's shoulder. "Welcome back," she said. All the pilots said the same thing. "Welcome back." 1 week later, Maya put on her pilot uniform. The gray radio room uniform was gone. Now she wore the blue pilot uniform. She walked to her plane. The other pilots were waiting. Captain Stevens was waiting. Captain Wilson was waiting. Captain Johnson was waiting. All the pilots were waiting. Maya climbed into the plane. She put on her helmet. She sat in the seat. She put her hands on the controls. Then she turned on the radio. "Phoenix Squadron," she said. "Are you ready?" All the pilots said yes. "Then let us fly," said Maya. And she repeated the call sign one more time. But this time it was different. This time it was a promise. "This is Echo Wing," she said clearly. "Echo Wing is flying." And the entire squadron fell silent. Not because they were scared. Not because they were sad. But because they were happy. Because the best pilot had come home. Because Echo Wing was back where she belonged. In the sky. Flying. Saving lives. Being a hero.